All right, welcome everybody to December. I'm going to have Sean do a quick roll call for us.
Yes, representing the Kanawha County Commission, we have President Valerie Gaynor, Vice President Jay Snodgrass, Michael Farmer is in attendance. Representing the City of Charleston, we have Mr. Tom Tolliver in person. We have Heidi Bonnet-Adams electronically. Representing Montgomery, we have Maurice Anderson electronically. Representing the City of Nitra, we have Mayor Dave Casebolt electronically. Representing South Charleston, we have Gene Arthur electronically. And we also have the esteemed Robert Sutphin from St. Albans in person. And therefore we do have 6 of our 8 partners present and a quorum.
All right, thank you for that. The minutes were sent around with the packets, and thank you, Jay, for catching the small snafu there. So everybody should have had a chance to review the minutes. Are there any comments?
While we're looking again, I didn't see anything on there. Sean had turned down his original raise. I did not see it in this version.
Yeah.
You can add that in there. Yep.
Okay,
So
good point.
Thank you.
All right, if there aren't any other comments with that correction, we need a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make a motion.
All right.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Jessica.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, everybody. Schedule 1, you will still see the high accounts receivable and negative short-term investments. You know, we've not received our operating grant, but as of this morning, she said it will be probably early January. So I'm just gonna hold my breath until then. On Schedule 2, our statement of revenues and expenses, our operating expenses exceeded revenues by $1.1 million for November. So we're continuing to stay on the low end of our range, which makes me happy. Utilities are a little weird at $3,500, but that's artificially low due to the timing of entering bills. $15,000 worth of November utilities were entered in December, so December looked a little weird too. But overall, we're staying just under budget with our operating expenses. Revenue-wise, our fares are still down due to the changes we discussed regarding the SOAR program. The reserve account, which is the short-term investment line, is still running low on dividends, but again, that will get better once we get our grant funds. We're gonna sock them right into there to start earning some extra money. Our investment account is the little engine that could. Doing well at $144,000 in returns through November versus $126,000 this time last year. Gas revenue looks shy of the budget, but the new fuel contract with the increased surcharge rates just took effect in late November. So the revenue will gradually increase moving forward to be more aligned with the budget. So if you look at this time last year, revenues to date are within $1,000 of last year. They're $26,000 now, $27,000 last year. So we're doing we're on track for that. Schedule 4, our levy receipts. We have received our December payout, and we are at $5.8 million for December, which is almost exactly where we were this time last year, and I will take that. I will take a net zero over a negative anytime. Does anybody have any questions?
Thanks, Jessica. Any invoices over $5,000?
We do not have any invoices in excess of 5,000.
All right. Insurance report.
Good morning, everyone. In your packet, you'll see Schedule 7. We were able to close quite a few different claims over this past month. We're still working through a few of them. It's not in this packet, but you'll see it next month. We do have one open claim that's going to be added to this, but working through claims. We currently have no one on for workers' comp still, so let's keep that up.
Ooh, good deal.
On this closed, is there a dollar amount with each one of those, or is that our deductible?
Yeah, it's our deductible. Anything that's closed, and I should have put that on there. Anything that is closed with maximum $2,500 that we paid out. Some of them are not $2,500. I'll start adding that in there.
Would it be less than $2,500?
Some of them could be, because when we get a claim, I don't know the exact amount that it's going to be. I'm guessing it's gonna be good for 2,500 when we go through insurance, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's 2,000, so we don't pay the 2,000. But we have denied more claims than we have paid out this year, so that's very good.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Kurt. Jacob?
Good morning. So November, we did see a 12% decrease in ridership from the previous year. A couple factors there that contribute to that. This past November, we had 5 Sundays and 5 Saturdays in the month. And with the service changes, no longer offering service on Sundays, and then the reduced service on Saturdays, is probably the biggest reason for the decrease. Historically, November, December, January are low ridership months. We went back the last 5 years and take a look, and there is a significant drop in ridership during these months. But the on-time performance for the fixed route and demand services held steady with an increase on the demand side. Demand increased to 94% on-time performance. And on operations report 2, we saw an increase in the met demand rate there. November, the met demand rate increased 93%. With us completing 1,500 trips for the microservice. And the cancellations, we saw a decrease in cancellations and no-shows, so that continues to trend down.
How have the weather events been lately for you all? And I mean, I've seen the coverage of the warming bus and
This year's been a lot calmer than last year. It's all about timing, I think, for us. This year, the storms hit later in the day.
yeah.
So our teams were able to get out, check the roads. But then the next day, we were back out early in the morning to make sure nothing's frozen over. We had to reroute a couple routes, just due to the nature of the roads, the hills, and the outskirts of the county. But in our main line, we were able to maintain everything. Our team did a great job, coming out to check the routes for our drivers, make sure we're not putting them in risky situations. Our drivers did a great job of, reporting issues to us if they came across a road that needed to be looked at again. It was a great team effort.
Good. Well, thank you, Jacob. Okay, maintenance facility update. That's exciting, exciting.
Yeah, so I'll start this and then I'll hand it over to Travis. So, as some of you have probably heard, and I sent an email out the day that I found out, but the third time was a charm for us on applying for competitive grant with FTA on our new maintenance facility. So, again, thank you to our congressional delegation. I know Senator Capito and Justice and former Senator Manchin and Congresswoman Miller did a fantastic job of pushing these applications forward. And KRT last month received the largest federal grant in public transit history for West Virginia for $21.254 million. So it's again, third time we've been applying for this, and to finally get it is exciting, but it's kind of like the dog that was chasing a car. What do you do when you catch it? So it's gonna create a lot for us. And next month I anticipate Wendell, which is the architecture and engineering firm that helped us get this far with the design. They've submitted a proposal to us. They sent it last night, so not in time to get on the agenda for this month. But by next month, we're going to have a proposal to look at a scope of how do we get from 30% design to 100% design, and then look at construction, probably early 2027 to mid 2027 actual construction timeline. And what this will do, and I've put the little board up there behind Tom, this doesn't get us across the entire finish line when we talked about, hey, a maintenance facility connected to admin and a new wash bay. What this will accomplish for us is essentially flipping the existing setup we have, which is that there's a parking lot across Stockton, and now our maintenance facility obviously is right behind us now. This will flip that. This will put a new maintenance facility where our parking lot is, and in time, this existing maintenance facility will be torn down, will become a parking lot for the buses and for employees. And then we'll look at, when future grants help us complete the admin upgrade and the wash bay and some of the rest of that. But the entire design is going to be done in a fashion that, should we not be able to, pull down more federal funds or grant funds, we can still move forward with a brand new maintenance facility. And this is so imperative to us. When we did our facility assessment in 2022, it told us, hey, you can fix the existing building, but it's going to cost you $30 million when you can build a new one for essentially the same price. And there were some realities we just couldn't change with the existing facility as far as ceiling heights, making sure that we had the right exchange of air, etc., to future-proof our facility and make it as safe and state-of-the-art as possible for our employees. So this is a huge deal. It's exciting, and we've already had preliminary talks with FTA. This is the first competitive grant KRT has ever gotten. So we've asked them to hold our hands through the process just because we want to make sure we manage it correctly. But you're going to hear more every month as we keep pushing forward with this. But it's an exciting time, a really exciting time for us at KRT. So.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to everybody at KRT who put in work on this. I know it's been a long road, and a lot of due diligence and effort has been made to, go through the work of developing a design to submit with the grant and applying for the grant over and over again. Great job, everyone. I'm really excited. I'm proud of KRT. It was really exciting to see in the news. So it's great. It was a really good Christmas present. All right.
I don't know if Travis, do you have any other updates on the maintenance
That's the
facility?
highlight. You'll be hearing a lot from me the coming months after that.
Yeah.
So that'll help us also as it will require us to reassess and reprioritize some of those projects that we were putting Band-Aids on the existing maintenance facilities, whether it was the pits, whether it was talking about the woodworking shop becoming a lift area to work on KRT Plus vehicles. We're going to have to reshift some of that thinking now that this new facility is a reality to what can we get by with. And then what are the realities? Hey, if it's a safety issue or something we have to fix, obviously we're going to fix it. It's kind of like putting tires on a used car that you don't really want to, but you have to. So yeah, stand by, but it's exciting times, and thank you for the board's continued support. That really helped push it forward. It's a good problem to have.
But it's a good problem to have. All right, turning to new business. We've got Jeffrey Mace from Rick here who wanted to follow up with us about some opportunities. So Jeffrey, welcome.
Welcome, thank you all for having me. So a couple months ago, I was here, presented that Sean and I have kind of gone back and forth on how we should look to the future. Rick, as the MPO, we're doing short, medium, and long-term planning, and we really want to see transit succeed in the area. Our goals in our long-range plan is to increase multimodal activity, support for transit, support for bike, support for pedestrian, and one of the reasons for that is car infrastructure is so expensive, DOH doesn't have enough money. We would like to find alternatives that allow us to do less capacity expansion in the region. So you all did the COA in like 22, 23 is when you started.
Yep.
You just implemented, and I came in late. I don't know how involved Rick was early on that, but in the end, that was to get your current system into your resources. Since COVID, ridership's down, costs are up, and that was something you all had to do. Then I've been involved in some transit. I've recently done some additional studying and courses, and I think there's an opportunity to kind of rethink the network design, which didn't really occur in the last COA. KRT Plus currently connects basically into the same core system you had before. You've also upgraded your payment systems, which allow for better transfer opportunities, your fare capping and things such as that. Simplifies a lot of those things. With Rick, like I just mentioned, we want to emphasize multimodal development and increasing the mode share. So we currently have a grant pending for a bus rapid transit study that would look at BRT from St. Albans to Canal City via West Side and downtown. That is actually a very weird grant. It was first come, first serve. We got it in 2 minutes, so we're somewhat hopeful we get it. That would also include a transit-oriented development study, which addresses land use and other things around potential transit nodes. We've been talking to Sean about either providing for or working with DOH to provide additional funding to do a new COA that would lower KRT's cost to 20%. There are two programs for that, CMAC, which is congestion management and air quality, and the carbon reduction program that Rick has some funds from. Rick is able to serve as a project administrator on this because these are FHWA instead of FTA grants that can also lessen some of the work on the administrative side for KRT. So CMAC is our preferred option. Kurt and I had a call with DOH programming. It's an 80-20 program. It does require projects that lead to reduction in congestion and air quality improvements, which transit is basically a de facto meets those goals. It does require a approval from DOH from a selection committee. The programming guys have said that they do believe this project qualifies and that both of them were willing to be supporters for it. As an alternative, Rick, we have a couple $1 million in carbon reduction program money that we can also sub-allocate to this project if the CMAC doesn't go through. And the other advantage of CMAC is if we fund the study through CMAC, it gives us a better case to go to DOH and say, hey, can we flex some of this money for operations? And as part of the study, we can look at baseline funding and what if we add $1 million, $1.5 million a year through CMAC and enhance the service? So those are options we can look at. So I've been discussing it with a few consultants. It looks like this style of proposal, which is an access-based study, they tend to run $250,000 to $300,000 total for a system the size of KRT. We think setting the total project budget to $350,000 would cover, a multi-year time, there's inflation, any unexpected costs, things like that. That would lead to a KRT match of $70,000 with $280,000 federal, but it would be $70,000 split over 3 fiscal years. The timeline, if the KRT board can approve in the January-February meeting, we can submit to DOH, and if CMAC is approved, we're good. If not, the RIC board could go and approve the carbon reduction in March. About this time next year, we could go to RFQ with the actual project starting early 2028, and then study completion in 29, and then implementation in late 29 or early 30. Any questions on this?
And I'll just follow up a little bit on Jeffrey's comments, and I appreciate Jeffrey for looking at ways that Rick can work better with KRT to enhance the funds that are available to us. It's one of the things we've learned through this last process was, hey, make sure we engage all the community partners we can. It's also been drilled in my head that the next time you should do a system plan is when you feel like you just did a system plan. But that was our fault when we said last time we did it was every 15 years, and the result was, hey, it's chaos. There's a whole bunch of changes. So we need to continuously keep KRT a liquid public transit agency as far as where our routes and what our system looks like, and I think this can help us get there. I think we also learned a lot from the COA we went through in 2022 through 24, and learned some lessons on how we could potentially do it better, and how we can involve the public along the discussion in a more meaningful way. So I appreciate Jeffrey for coming to talk about this. I guess the next thing will be to talk about this more in depth and then have a proposal for the board to say whether we're on board with providing the match. Again, there's still a process that Rick will have to go through as far as bidding this out. And that's maybe a question I have for you, Jeffrey. Would the board be approving to provide the match? But I mean, at that point, the board wouldn't know what that match was truly going to be until you bid it out, correct?
So I think the final match is going to be actual costs because it's a reimbursement program. Okay. So $350,000 budget, that's almost certainly going to be the maximum. So the $70,000 match would be the maximum. So board would need to approve, we're willing to go to 70,000 now, we'll probably spend less than that, and then we want to do a COA.
So the total of the grant would be, grant itself, we're saying.
280,000.
Okay, gotcha.
It's not really a grant, they're formula funds
Gotcha.
that are eligible for this. So Rick can either approve a project for the CRP or KOH.
So total max 30 to 50, we max 70. Can that match be labor, time, staff members, administration? What are they looking at
It
as match?
can, as long as it's non-federally funded staff time. So if you have staff funded through FTA, those should not be counted. But if you have locally funded, that you can do any kind.
Gotcha.
And that's
Like the levy.
I would also assume that if we approved that we're okay with doing $70,000, it gives some advantage to whoever's going to bid on that, because they kind of know where the ceiling is.
Yes.
But that's the nature of this. I understand that in order for Jeffrey and Rick to move forward, they need to know there's some buy-in on our side.
Yeah, and there's,
Clearly is.
this 28 is probably a larger year of three.
So essentially, it's to write a grant to look at our operations to reduce carbon emissions or those things as a
Yeah.
whole, from St. Albans, from St. Albans to Kanawha
no,
City.
that was our BRT, is St. Albans to Canal City. This would be a full network.
Gotcha.
Access base means you, instead of relying on your existing routes, you're looking at where are people, where are they trying to go, and what makes sense within your resources. So you're not going to necessarily guarantee the same routes because you're looking at the best, same coverage in different mixes. But you know, an example I like to throw out, and I don't even know if this would be a real thing when you do the analysis, but you're in South Charleston or something and you want to go to Walmart, right now you have to go city center, transfer, go to a separate bus. You know, if there's enough ridership determined from South Charleston West, maybe that should be going up Jefferson Road and there's a separate route.
Gotcha.
So you're looking at that kind of holistically anew instead of just focusing on
Right.
where you're currently at.
So this could encompass the new system of KRT Plus also to say, hey, we already know we're implementing this. This is what we're
Right,
currently at.
KRT Plus would supplement it. So, you know, right now you have your zones.
Right.
So if you had a different network that provided better access between different point A and point B for certain groups of people, KRT Plus would then be a transfer into those instead of the existing ones. It doesn't really directly affect KRT Plus, but it could shift things.
So when you say like different access, is that
Different
KRT?
routes, different
Okay.
fixed routes.
Okay, got you. Sorry, I don't know all the jargon, so I just want to make sure we're.
No, it's fine.
getting clarity.
And I think the thing that stuck with me that made the most sense from Jeffrey's comments is that this last COA, it was a great study, but what it did was it took the spaghetti map of KRT and said, how do you make this better? Whereas this is taking a blank slate and saying, okay, knowing what we know about where people ride and the data, if you took away that spaghetti map, what would a perfect map look like? And so it'll give us a whole different answer. Now it'll give us a whole new set of challenges as far as what you do at the end of 2029 when you've got to do those things. But they would be a clean, unbiased, not how do we fix something that is potentially broken, but how would you build it brand new? If you could tear down your house and rebuild it, how would you do it?
The last COA we did too was 100% local, so we paid for it out of KRT coffers. So this would be a better way to spread costs over 3 fiscal years and not land us with a $200,000 bill. That's basically what a COA costs.
It's a huge advantage for us, and I appreciate Rick looking at how can they time it over 3 years so we could spread it out, which is less of a burden on us also. But behind the scenes, Jeffrey and I will work together to provide some more information for the board before we put it in front of you to debate and talk about whether we want to be a part of it.
Okay.
Again, I appreciate Jeffrey and his team for working on this and figuring out how they can push more planning funds our direction.
Yeah, thank you, Jeffrey. Yeah.
And I'll note the BRT, because it's more infrastructure, that's more in Rick's long-term kind of planning. And you know, that's a $80 to $100 million type of project, because it's prioritization, like bus lanes, things like that, if we were to build it. So KRT would be involved in that BRT study as a strong partner, but because it's more infrastructure based, that's more in Rick's long-range planning to look at.
No, thank you, and thank you for continuing to be a good partner to KRT and looking for good opportunities for us. We appreciate it. Okay, safety levy.
Yeah, so speaking of things that seem like we just did yesterday, we have an existing safety levy that runs through June 30th of 2029, but what that means in reality is this upcoming May primary in 2026 makes the most sense for us to go out again for the safety levy for another 5 years. So the county's reached out and asked us to sit down with the ambulance authority. We have a meeting this afternoon with Monica Mason and the team over there to have our preliminary talks. So there's going to be a lot of movement on our side to get this approved by the county commission. There's a end of February deadline for them to approve the ballot. So we're going to be working diligently to get this in front of them. I know our message to the commission is going to be, look, the percentages as far as what KRT has received has declined over the years. What the county receives has increased as far as their discretionary. They now have 13% of the safety levy, which they divvy out to volunteer firefighter, police departments, sometimes to the ambulance authority, etc. So very important items, and that's the tough thing here with the safety levy is everybody is doing great things, but our funds and the levy receipts we have, the levy funds from yesterday aren't as impactful as they are today, right? I mean, it's just a reality. And so there's going to be some tough questions, and we're going to continue to lobby for KRT to say, hey, we need levy funds. It's the most important thing to our budget. About 50.2% of our revenue comes from the safety levy. So I just wanted the board to know that we're going to start that push, and we will be likely coming to your communities in the future to ask for support from the city council. Again, KRT doesn't itself lobby for the passage or the opposition to the levy, but we just educate folks of what we do and hope that in turn helps push the levy forward as we work with the ambulance authority and the sheriff's department, etc. So just heads up, that's coming, and it's going to be just another fun thing for us.
Hopefully we don't have to buy another ambulance every year.
Yeah, well, hopefully Monica's not listening. Thanks, Jay. This last levy, we did not do that. That was, and we'll see. Look, the most important thing to us is those percentages of how the levy breaks down stays the same, or if it's not popular to say, hey, a levy should increase, but it's tough. We see every May what our budget is, and we see the hole that we're in, and we've made efforts, and I appreciate the board allowing us to get closer to that. We're climbing up out of that, but the levy is the most important aspect of that. So we will continue to update you on a monthly basis on the levy.
It seems like just yesterday we were talking about the levy.
Well, this one runs through 2029, so if we approve and it would be for another 5 years, so it would be 2034 is what the next levy will run through, which sounds crazy.
That does sound crazy.
That's the world we're in.
Okay, so on the agenda, we have an item that would require us to go into executive session. So in order to do that, we need a motion for
I'll make a
some.
motion to
Okay.
go into executive session.
Under this code section. Jay, under this code section,
Under the
listed on
code,
the agenda. Okay.
6-9A4B2A.
Okay, cool. All right, and is there a second? Okay, all right. Yeah. All in favor? Please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so everyone who is not a board member or who is not Sean, Kurt, Jessica, or Travis, will you please exit the room? And then Travis, do we have Jeremy Young on Zoom?
No.
Okay, so everyone who's not a board member, we need to get